Per usual, everything else channels for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. Let's take a look at some altcoin charts today. I got to talk about Bitcoin first. This continues to look like a bearish reversal to me on the technicals. This continues to look like a head and shoulders to me. So that's, of course, going to color all of my altcoin analysis. Anything above 107 on a daily close, and BTC looks like it would negate this potential reversal. We may see a catalyst up or down on Friday. Based on the jobs numbers, you would think a new higher high in unemployment above 4.2% would be more bearish, I assume. It's hard to know what the exact number is going to be. It's hard to know how the market's going to interpret that and how that's going to move rates, and then what the downstream effects are. But if there's anything that's going to move this in the near term, it would be unemployment numbers. If this is symmetrical based on what we saw on the left shoulder, this could see an expiration around June 10th, which would be into next week, aka that's when you'd expect this to make a decision. As I said yesterday, we already broke down on the Williams fractal, so that's not a good sign for continuation, and neither is breaking the Tenkin, which we are now heavily below there. This measures to sub 100, somewhere between 94 to 97, 93. There's a key June on the daily at 93. There's also the 20-week moving average around 93, 94, whatever it may be at the time we get there. So there's confluence for a breakdown, should we see it, in a vacuum on the BTC chart. So for me, what does that mean? I don't like alts here. I don't like BTC here. I don't like beta. I don't like leverage. Miners look great. Those are basically alts. We'll take a look at those for half a second. And there's a lot of like low to mid cap legacy charts that look okay. I feel more confident taking those setups than anything. In crypto land, ETH oddly looks the best here. It has held up nicely. It has also had some ETF inflows for a change. So BTC bearish to me until proven otherwise. If you look at dominance, this still looks fine. It's still in a channel. It's still in a trend. You can try to call the top on dominance every 3 to 6 months, but so far it's been up only. Could this be the top? It could. Is it worth jumping into alts here? I don't think so, because if we break down, BTC is going to go down 5 to 10%. Alts are going to go down 10 to 20%. So it doesn't quite make sense to me to be heavily denominated in alts here just yet. If we look at total 2, similar to the ETH chart, it is trying to get out of the cloud. ETH is out of the cloud, to be clear, but on the daily here, really just nothing quite yet as far as cloud trend stuff is concerned. Best case is, again, anything like Q4 last year. You get the trifecta bullish TK cross, price above cloud, bullish cloud. You've got most of that here, but the funny thing is a lot of these alts are like down here. They're way below the cloud at this point. So you've got ETH really doing heavy lifting here on total 2. Sol is in the middle. Some alts are in the middle of their clouds, and then a lot of alts are just below the cloud again. So not only did they not complete their edge to edge, but they failed their edge to edge. It just looked bearish. So to me, the trend person, I don't like those charts. Those just aren't for me. And then you've got inverse dominance, total 2 over BTC basically. And what about this is bullish here? It just isn't. Sorry. Like, I want to see a high time frame bottom. Until then, I don't care. I want to see price above the cloud here. Until then, I don't care. So it just doesn't make sense to me still to be heavily denominated into alts. The hardest part here is, okay, I'm bearish BTC, great, awesome. Now, can ETH actually do anything in the face of this if BTC breaks down? I really, really doubt it. I really, really doubt ETH can go in the other direction. One last thing before I flip charts here. Something else to also pay attention to that has been very good, backtests excellently since Bitcoin has existed, is the 1050 daily cross, super basic moving average cross. If we get a bear cross here, just add that to the bear column. This is going to cross here likely within the next week, bearish. And that's just all the more reason to be careful. It isn't the end of the world if we pull back. It may pull back for 10 picoseconds. I don't know. But this, again, is not bullish to me at all in any way I try to slice this on technicals. So if we go to ETH on the daily, ETH looks okay. It looks okay. Am I confident enough? Again, it's just tough. What do you do here? Do you trade this in a vacuum by itself? Or do you take everything else into consideration? Anything long on ETH here, stop loss based on the daily Williams fractals would be 24.67, which, hey, maybe you just use that as your guide and you say, that's enough. I Don't really care if this breaks up or down, but it looks bullish enough relative to everything else. And the stop loss is 24.67. That's one way to do it, because on the cloud, what we have here is everything's bullish. Bullish cloud, bullish TK cross. Now we're a bit far from the Kijun, sure, so it's a little bit overbought, but it has consolidated at this level. It has held at this level. If we get continuation, you can measure this in two ways. You can either include the pole of the flag pennant or not. That's up to you. Ultimately, this wants to go back to an all-time high retest if we break up. That's where this is pointing. This may take another 6 months, right? I don't know, but you have that. You've got this cup and handle thing at the bottom. Cup and handle police are going to be after me, but there's plenty of TA evidence for continuation here. And this is certainly one of the best looking alts out of everything, which hasn't happened in a very, very long time. Months, maybe even years, where ETH has looked better than everything else. Simply by existing up here in this range of 2,500, it's looked better. Another way we can look at the categories here, if you go to the Markets tab on Kraken Pro, a sponsor of this here video, we look at the Markets tab on Kraken Pro. They have indices here based on categories. And over the past week, most everything has been negative or flat. Layer 1's down, DeFi, privacy, layer 2, DEX, utility, right? No matter what it is, this stuff just hasn't held up well. So I'm not a bull there. And we can click into culture and see what that is. And it looks like LPT kind of leading the way. Everything else, though, kind of just whatever. And this is a bunch of like, who knows, right? What this stuff is. You got Ape, LPT, Live Peer. So it's really just one coin doing the heavy lifting for that index, and everything else is just kind of whatever. So alts, we can look, but man, there just isn't anything that I can see. Ripple's still stuck in the range. Nothing to do here for me whatsoever until this breaks up or down. It's been ranging since December. Really nothing else to say. You want this above 260 to care. Sol gave it all back quickly. Not something you want to see. And it's just stuck in this range, stuck in the cloud. Maybe later in the year, it tries to run. Maybe this kind of forms a cup and handle thing eventually if this pulls up. It's nothing here. There's literally nothing to do. And if we go on lower time frames, we can say, all right, maybe this is a bear flag or a ascending broadening wedge, something. It doesn't look bullish to me. It just doesn't. I know I have bear goggles on, but it clearly is much different than how ETH looks. ETH at least looks tradable here to the long side. Sol just doesn't look like anything, and that's kind of the rest of the market. Doge, same exact chart. What is there to do there? Nothing. Just, I don't personally see anything. And we can keep going down the list. Altcoin, I wouldn't touch this with a plunger-sized pole. I would leave that one alone. It had a massive run-up, and it needs to cool off for a bit. Sweet has a problematic-looking head and shoulders fractal, potentially. We can go on lower time frames and see that maybe a little bit better, but what about that is bullish? It is not. Even if this doesn't break down, that's not the point. The point is, what do you do when you see this? My Pavlovian response is, I don't want to be long. I don't care if I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. What does this look like? Now, is it pretty? No. But if it's anything remotely resembling a head and shoulders, you got to be careful of the long side, or you're just eating the downside. That's up to you. And it's hard to even judge where something like Sol could go. Where does something like this go to the downside? We can look at volume levels. We can look at pivots. I just don't think it makes too much sense to care until the trend is bullish again, because this can just chop around for all of Q3. That's why, again, ETH looks the most solid to me if I had to pick anything here, only because it's just holding its levels. And the deeper we go down on these meme coins, there just, to me, again, isn't anything. What here is tradable to the long side? I don't see it. I just don't see it. Anything that has had a good run in May, it's still consolidating. Really nothing else to do. Link looks like Sol and Doge. No, not for me. Whiff looks like Pepe. Needs more time. Tau also looked decent. What does it look like today? Just kind of curling down. I don't love it. I don't hate it. Certainly looks better than most things. You could say, well, maybe this will be a massive inverted head and shoulders. We can sort of like cheat this a little bit. Maybe we can bid somewhere down here at 300, 307, 310, 320. Hope to catch the right shoulder. Yeah, you can play that game, but do I play those games on high confidence? I don't. But yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate buying pullbacks if you think BTC is going to bounce below 100K. Last time I traded Curve was, I don't know, 77, 76, something like that cents. And it's just gone nowhere since. Just really nothing. Just a bunch of nothing burgers. It is a platter of nothing burgers. Maybe that's the title of the video today. Cardano, same thing as Ripple, stuck in the range, nothing to do there. Certainly looks more bearish than bullish. Aave on the DeFi side looks okay. There are some ETH adjacent, ETH beta stuff that looks decent. Certainly overbought relative to the TK lines. I don't hate this. It's just, what do? You got to be careful, cognizant of the market. Maybe like a stop loss slightly below the cloud there at 238. And if things pull up, stuff that looks like ETH, stuff that looks like Maker is going to do better, most likely because it already has a bullish tint to it. Whereas stuff like Sol, Doge, Link maybe won't do as well. ENA, this trade for me has kind of been a disaster. it broke into the cloud and then went nowhere. Now it's down, right? So what do you do here? What do you do? For me, I'm just waiting. I don't hate trimming. I don't hate cutting, but I'm just waiting. And maybe I'll be waiting till September. Maybe it'll take the end of the cycle to pull this thing higher. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just wrong. That's very possible. The chart still looks interesting to me on a potential move higher. It's just, you have to be ready. You have to set those near-term expectations and say, okay, if we make a lower low, I should probably do something. Should probably move my feet, trim, cut. Otherwise, I'm going to be here for 3 to 6 months because that's probably how long it's going to take for some of this stuff to move. If it didn't move in May, when everything looked crazy bullish, it's certainly not going to move now when everything looks just meh, AVAX is another one. Didn't go anywhere. Just flat out didn't go anywhere. And this was the caution I was telling people a couple of weeks ago, that be careful going down the market cap list with all these edge ideas, because inevitably some of them just won't work out. Let me just go to Maker real quick. Maker, similar to Monero, it just trades differently most of the time than the market. July to the end of the year in 2024, this was trading way different than everything else. Mid-year, most of the market was chopping around. Maker was going higher. So it has a history of non-correlation, which is good. And it looks okay to me. Does it look amazing? Is it a slam dunk? No, but you could say this is some sort of bottoming something. Again, I'm in this 3 to 6 months, probably no longer than 3 months, based on how I suspect this cycle going. If we look at Maker BTC, it also looks bottomy to me. So these are the charts that I think deserve more attention than anything else, because for the most part, you can tell me in the comments. You can say, hey, what about XYZ chart? Most stuff right now just doesn't look tradable to me. I know a few people caught the syrup trade. I certainly wasn't on that, but this is the type of thing that you want to look for, some non-correlated chart that doesn't look like everything else. If it looks like Sol, Link, or Doge, or AVAX, or ENA, we know where those are headed, probably nowhere anytime super soon. I also want to remind people, if you're looking for a non-stablecoin place to hide out, you do have PAXG, which is gold. Gold looks okay. It's tough because this started as a potential head and shoulders, and now it kind of looks like an inverted head and shoulders. I don't know. It looks like you want a bearish TK cross here, but it's sort of holding those highs. BTC and gold never move together. It's something else to keep in mind. If gold does take off, it will be non-correlated to BTC, most likely. So this chart certainly looks better than most alts. And now if we go to the super secret end of video alpha, if we look at the stonks here on TradingView, anything that looks like IWM to me looks phenomenal. You have a multi-month inverted head and shoulders setup that you can see from space. I don't really care about the volume personally, but the chart pattern police are going to come after me for not talking about the volume, whatever. That looks excellent. You've got PayPal, also looks excellent. Again, these are all just basic chart patterns. Looks great. Looks really good. I had an alert today on Figs that popped. It was up 7, now it's up 9%. This is another Rivian adjacent chart idea where it just has been down only for a long time and maybe is starting to bottom. So the stuff that looks like this, that's where I'd prefer my money to be right now, because I don't see a lot of clarity in alts broadly. AMD is another one, just basic chart pattern. And you can say, well, there's this, that, and the other thing, reason why, blah, 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 semis, broadening, whatever. I don't care. I just like the chart. I like the chart. I like how this looks. You probably want it. The legacy cloud. It's above the legacy cloud. It's got this on its side, right? So it has some breakout potential for sure. I know some people looking at SOX L. This is the 3x semis ETF. A quick note about charting these leveraged ETFs. I think it actually makes more sense to chart the underlying. So SMH would be an example here. Chart SMH. If you like SMH, then look for the leverage in the ETF. It doesn't make sense to me, realistically, to chart the leverage product because of the vol drag, because of the fees. You're probably going to get a better signal on the non-leveraged version. So it's a bit of a weird spot. Legacy, mid caps, low caps actually look ready for a breakout. Crypto alts look awful to me. BTC looks ready for a reversal. And you've got miners that just look amazing, right? Again, what is this? This is the same thing on every chart. This is just an inverted head and shoulders. And you've got cloud stuff on your side as well. So that's all I got for this one today. Give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know which alts you're trading that I missed that are 10x baggers coming up. Happy trading.